Hey guys, Skellington80 here. We are back for day 10 of... Is it day 10? Yeah, it's day 10 of 25 Days of Monsters, and today we bring you the story of The Golem from, well, The Golem by Gustav Meyrink, 1915. The category is Inorganic Construct. The base of operations is Prague. When is every 33 years forever. Monstrous powers. It can grow bigger than you. It can paralyze you. Perhaps it is you. Weakness. Meth. And no, this will make much more sense once we get into the story. It is not literally weak to the drug meth. Most dastardly deeds. Rabbi squishing. And the fear factor is 4, even though that's kind of relative. And let's just say that the last part about rabbi squishing it's not what it sounds like. We will get to it eventually, just like the meth part. Alright, and before we begin, here is the picture of the golem. Kind of looks like Darth Vader. As you can see, there's some writing on his forehead, which will come into play later. And I think it's sort of funny that he's dressed up like a person to avoid suspicion. I don't know. I might be misremembering the story, but alright. Long ago in the city of Prague, a learned rabbi made a man-shaped figure out of clay and wrote on its forehead the Hebrew word emeth, or truth. Please forgive me if any Hebrew people are in the audience and I am butchering your language. Various magical incantations brought the clay figure to life. The golem could not speak, but it could understand and follow directions, and the rabbi used it as a servant to tidy up around the synagogue and run errands. The golem would start out small, but it grew taller and taller over the course of the week. Every Friday evening, the rabbi rubbed out the beginning of the word on this creature's forehead, leaving only meth, the Hebrew word for death, and the golem collapsed into a heap of clay pieces. After the Sabbath, the rabbi would create him again. Now it makes much more sense. It would be funny if he was weak to the drug meth, but I'm pretty sure meth did not exist in the 18th century. Is it the 18th century? 20th century. Because we're in the 21st century, so the 1900s would be the 20th century. I'm an idiot, apparently. Okay, and there's a little blurb here. Ask yourself, am I a golem? There's an old joke that goes, it's too late to run, the skeleton is already inside you. It might be too late to run from the golem, is all I'm saying. Call me an idiot, but I don't really get the joke. And that's kind of creepy, I will admit. Until one Friday evening, when the rabbi forgot to deactivate the golem. By Saturday, the figure was taller than ever, and the rabbi could no longer reach its forehead. There was no way to rub out the truth. There was no way to stop it from growing, and day after day it grew larger and larger. Finally, the rabbi had an idea. He asked the golem to tie his shoes for him. When the golem bent over to tie the rabbi's shoes, the rabbi quickly wiped out the beginning of emeth. Reduced once more to lifeless clay, the golem toppled over, but its massive body crushed the rabbi in the process. Here we have another example of people in these stories being idiots. He would have lived if he had just told the golem to lie down. Clearly no one thought of this, but sorry, I tend to ramble when I find things to criticize, but all I'm saying is if he had asked it to just lie down, he would have gotten away alive. So technically he killed the golem the golem killed the rabbi by accident, so I don't know. That was a long time ago. No one has ever been foolish enough to make a golem since. But that doesn't mean the golem was never seen again. Before the rabbi could form the golem out of clay, he had to form a golem in his mind, imagining the shape his creation would take as any sculptor would. Although the golem of clay was destroyed, the golem of the mind lived on. It appeared every 33 years in a certain room in Prague, a room with one barred window. If the room had any doors, they must have been secret. No man in Prague knew how to get into the room, because it was too high to climb up. Once a man tried lowering himself by rope, from the top of the building, but the rope snapped and that was the end of him. But there must have been a way out of the room, for the golem always managed to escape and wander the streets of Prague, dressed in an outlandishly old costume. Those who beheld him suffered a strange paralysis, and it was though they were looking not at a man of clay, but at their own soul staring back at them. Whenever the golem showed up, Prague erupted in violence. There were murders and strange and sinister happenings. Then, one dark night in the late 19th century, a jeweler named Athanasius Pernath accidentally stumbled upon a secret labyrinth of twisting tunnels and trapdoors that led him to a room with one barred window. He looked out the window and at the street below, and the passers-by were terrified. They said that the golem had returned. Pernath's neighbor, Rabbi Hillel, said he didn't believe in the golem, and he said he wouldn't believe in it even if it was standing right in front of him. And when he said this, he looked directly at Athanasius Pernath. Pernath was a strange man who could often not distinguish his dreams from his life and almost had no memories. Was Pernath the golem? Was the golem Pernath? Perhaps in 33 years, when the golem returns, all will finally be made clear. Alright. Before we continue, I just want to clarify one thing. I probably should not be talking about this since I am not educated enough to talk about it, but I just wanted to try and clarify the difference between an organic and an inorganic construct. Frankenstein's monster is an organic construct because he's, made of flesh and stuff. The golem is an inorganic construct because he is made of clay and was therefore not formerly alive, or made out of living material. Okay, there we go. Modernism, or beyond the book. This is the beyond the book section. Modernism. In the beginning of the 20th century was marked by the rise of the artistic movement known as modernism. Modernist artists experimented with new ways of creating art. Paintings that didn't look realistic, poetry that didn't rhyme or have a regular meter, novels that might not have a plot or characters or a setting. Some modernist authors wrote in what's called a stream of consciousness, a jumbled tangle of words that depict the subjective experiences inside a character's head. Rather than just reporting what happens to the character, they write about how the character perceives and understands what's happening to them. The golem is written from the point of view of a character that doesn't always know what's going on. He doesn't even know who he is. This can make the book hard to understand, but as the writer Lionel Trilling once said about modernists, we like difficult books. The other weird writer from Prague. Gustav Meyrink was well known in his day, but his reputation has been overshadowed by an even greater and weirder author who wrote in Prague in the 1910s and 20s, Franz Kafka. Kafka's most famous monster is a salesman named Gregor Samsa, who wakes up one morning in bed in the form of an enormous insect. His family locks him in his room and complains about him. No one wants a giant insect in the family. The Metamorphosis, 1915, which chronicles Gregor's life in that little room, climbing up and down the walls on his gigantic spindly legs, is one of the saddest stories ever written. Considering 2 days ago we just went through Frankenstein, I'm sure that that's sort of a relative statement. So yeah. How to build an inorganic construct. The golem is made of clay, but you can also make a construct out of bronze in the Argonautica by Apollonius of Rhodes, circa 250 BC. The Argonauts are a dream team of Greek mythological heroes who go on an epic quest to find the Golden Fleece, and along the way they face many dangers, including the giant Talos. The Argonauts' weapons are worthless against him, for Talos is fashioned of bronze and invulnerable. Fortunately for the heroes, they have the sorceress Medea on their side, and she deduces that the giant's weak spot, his ankle, and uses her magic against him, and with a mighty thud, Talos falls. What they failed to mention is that there was a bolt on Talos' heel that held in the magic potion that sort of kept him running, and when it came unscrewed, he died. So, yeah. Brass in Friar Bacon and Friar Bungay by Robert Greene, circa 1590, darn it. It was written in 1590, I'm sorry. The magician Roger Bacon constructs a head made of brass that can unfold strange doubts and round all of England with a I'm so sorry. Let me start over. The magician Roger Bacon constructs a head made of brass that can unfold strange doubts and aphorisms and read a lecture in philosophy. He plans to use the head to make help him surround all of England with a defensive wall, also made of brass. I'm not sure how that worked, because it would have been much easier to build a wall, but without proper context, I guess we'll never know. Unfortunately, the head only speaks 7 mysterious words. Time is, time was, time is past, before a phantom hand with a phantom hammer smashes the head into pieces. So, yeah, that's weird. But then again, so are pretty much all of these stories. Future Chemical Compounds in RUR by Karel Kapek. I don't know, it's Czech. I don't know. I don't speak Czech. Slovakian. If that's even a language. I am dumb. I am a dumb American, and I do not know how to pronounce words in other languages. Very well, at least. Okay, written in 1921. This Czech drama is the source for our word robot. RUR stands for Rossum's Universal Robots, and robota in the Czech language means forced labor. The play depicts a world in which robots are forced to toil for humanity until, predictably, they rise up and exterminate us. Oops. Alright, with that out of the way, we have reached the end of the video. I hope to see you all for day 11. Day 11. Sorry, I'm losing count. So, happy Halloween, everybody. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I will see you next time. Bye!